Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today for Beastcoast Pokemon, I'm kicking off a brand new series called Trainer's Choice. In this series, I'm going to be taking a suggestion from all of you, the viewers, and building a team around that suggestion. These suggestions can be as standard as you want them to be, or as crazy and out of the box as you want them to be. For the first one, you just know that we had to try out something absolutely crazy. So, the first inaugural episode of Trainer's Choice is going to feature a Life Orb Special Zacian. Yes, you heard that right, Life Orb Zacian. That means you don't even have the sword. That means you are not the crown form. This is just regular Zacian. So, it's going to be fun, and if this is a series you'd like to see more of, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on the video, give us any feedback down in the comment section below. I think this will be really fun and enjoyable. It's definitely going to be challenging for me, but I'm excited. And yeah, don't forget to leave suggestions for what you'd like to see us try out next here on the channel for this series. And the comment with the most likes after a week that this video has been published will be the one that wins the fan vote. So let's talk a little bit about the team that I've constructed here. If you want to just skip to the battles, all of that is down in the timestamp in the description below as well. So, Special Zacian. When I saw this one, I was like, okay, what in the world can I do with this Pokemon, right? And the thing about Pokemon is, no matter how wacky the set is, you want to do your best to optimize it, right? So in my head, I was like, okay, what are Special Zacian's redeeming qualities? Well, you get access to 100% accurate Fairy-type attack in Moonblast. Focus Blast is a surprising amount of damage, right? Pretty valuable into things like Incineroar. And then I looked at the moveset. Truly, this thing does not get that many special attacks. Zacian does actually get some nice supportive attacks, but I wanted to really stay true to the challenge and just use only special attacks and no support attacks, right? So I ended up with Round and Snarl. Snarl is a really good utility move. We can use that into Pokemon are slower than Zacian, and it's also valuable in a Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? Like Snarl into that and Lunala is actually pretty meaningful damage, but the idea here is that we can Snarl into things like Kyogre before they attack, thus preventing them from getting a one-hit knockout potentially onto our Pokemon. The team that I built here is really hyper offensive, and so we don't have much bulk to work with. And finally, I selected Round. The idea of Round is that I can pair with Calyrex Shadow Rider and just go for like double Round and catch our opponents off guard. I don't think it's really that strong of a strategy, but Zacian truly just does not get access to many good special attacks, and so I was like, okay, at least Round maybe can allow us to do some gimmicky things that our opponents aren't going to expect. And so my idea is, look, I know the Zacian on this team is not going to pick up many knockouts, right? So what do I want to aim to do? Set my end the game quickly, right? And set up the team for success as quickly as possible. So I decided Hyper Offense was kind of the best way to build around it. So to start off, we have Tailwind Whimsicott here. I actually opted for Eject Button here because I think, okay, if I want to win with this team, I need to basically have a lot of surprises, right? Because like Zacian inherently is actually going to put me at a disadvantage more frequently than not, because it's just not going to be as strong as my opponent's restricted Pokemon. So if I can eject them out and prevent their Dynamax from doing much, that puts the, that kind of levels the playing field a lot more, right? Whereas like it's hard for me to get too much value out of Dynamax with this composition. My main Dynamax option here, my only real one, is going to be this Dynamax Thundurus. It's standard, but two things to call out here. There's Foul Play on it, right? I wanted Max Darkness on this team because, like, Zacian, of course, is a special attacker. So, we're base 80. That's not going to do very much damage, right? Even with modest max. But you combo it with Thundurus, lowering special defense, helping hand support from Whimsicott, and Calyrex Shadow Rider with choice specs, and suddenly we're talking about a lot more damage, potentially, between all of these Pokemon. So, I wanted to make sure we had a Dark-type attack here to turn into Max Darkness, and I opted for Policy here because Life Orb is such a common item, but this allows me to lead Weavile plus Thundurus, and the reason I selected Weavile here was because I wanted a Fake Tears user, so Fake Tears combos nicely with Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider, and with Weavile and Zacian we can maybe go for some like wonky Fake Tears plays that our opponents aren't going to expect. And so when I had Weavile on the team, I was like, okay, well, you know, Ice Shard is pretty valuable onto it. Could be a Dark-type attack here instead of Fake Tears or Ice Shard, but I was like, okay, Ice Shard's kind of cool. I can self-activate Policy on Thundurus and pick up some surprise one-hit knockouts that way. Right, like the idea is I know that I'm building for best of one. I'm trying to have as many surprises as possible because that is only that's gonna only help me at the end of the day. And once again, I'm playing with Special Zacian here, so I need all the help that I can get, right? So the idea is, yeah, Weavile and Thundurus is a pretty effective duo. We've got Choice Specs Calyrex here. Could be Focus Sash, but I wanted the Sash on Weavile. I think that's just the better item on Weavile. And I wanted Specs here because the damage output is just so much better without or with the Choice Specs. If you are Focus Sash, it takes a while for this thing to ramp up. And with Specs, I have like Helping Hand support from Indeedee and Whimsicott. So it's easier for Calyrex to just like do so much damage and even just pick up one-hit knockouts, right? And if this thing gets a single special attack boost through its ability while not fainting, it snowballs the game so incredibly quickly. And finally, for the team here, we've got Indeedee. This is just max HP defense with Psychic Seed. Very classic Indeedee, but I figured it's a good support partner for Calyrex here, as well as for Thundurus, right? So a lot of different ways you can play with the team. I had intended it for leads like Weavile plus Thundurus, and then like Calyrex and Zacian in the back. Indeedee, Calyrex with Zacian, Thundurus in the back is also okay. Whimsicott, Thundurus, for example, with Calyrex, Zacian in the back is okay as well. The key thing to note is that this team inherently, like, mainly has one Dynamax user, so I really got to leverage Max Thundurus as much as possible. But this is the best way I figured I can make special Zacian work and also try to win games with it, right? Like, my goal here is to build something, but also do a good job with it, and yeah, try to net some wins overall with it. So that's it for special Zacian. Let's see how much success I actually have with it. Hey guys, Cyber. Relax, I was just gonna get there. Anyway, as this little buddy was saying, 80% of you aren't subscribed to the channel, so hit that subscribe button. It really helps. Hey, what Pokemon are you? Okay, Dialga, Kyogre, Rillaboom, Porygon, Gothitelle, and Glastrier are here. I'm thinking Snarl Zacian is actually not terrible here, but they have a lot of potential Trick Room users, which is what I'm scared of the most, I think. Honestly, something like a Whimsicott Zacian lead here is interesting to me with Calyrex and Thundurus in the back. My problem with Thundurus is that it's not very strong into Dialga. If I had Max Knuckle onto it, I would probably consider bringing it, but I don't have Max Knuckle onto it, so yeah. Porygon 2 and Dialga. Okay, that's actually one of the leads I talked about. This is pretty interesting, right? Because I think what we can go for here, they're going to be so confused when they see Zacian. But we are pure fairy, so they can't just go for Steel Spike here. But I think I'm going to go for Switcheroo onto Porygon. I expect them to Dynamax Dialga, and we can Snarl here. I guess my problem here is that Thundurus just isn't that strong of a Dynamax option. Calyrex gets KO'd by Dialga pretty easily as well. I can steal an item away from the Dialga as valuable at least, but I expect them to just KO my Zacian here. We don't miss Snarl. Nice. Okay. Porygon gets ejected out, so no Trick Room now. My problem is that Porygon in itself is actually pretty good into a Calyrex Shadow Rider as well, and Thundurus isn't really incredibly strong into it either, so like I just don't have really good offense into Porygon 2 here, truthfully. Oh, they didn't realize it was a regular Zacian and not... Yeah, because who would ever use this kind of Zacian, right? Oh my goodness. Okay. We take those. I'm down to take the item away from Dialga here and go for a Snarl. That was amazing, though. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, people are going to be so confused when they go up against this Zacian. I'm curious on the item on Dialga. Could be Assault Vest. Goggles. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, I already got enough value out of special Zacian in this game, so I'm more than happy here. Another Max Flare here onto Zacian. So, I mean, maybe they just don't have Max Steel Spike? That's so bizarre, though, right? Like, that doesn't really make too much sense to me, but okay. Whimsicott does survive that. And your Life Orb, okay. I don't even think Helping Hand Moonblast KOs Kyogre, but I'm at least down to go for it. But they switch out, which I'll take, especially if Porygon 2 comes back in. Because, like, basically, in order to win this game, I need to deny them Trick Room, right? And in order to deny them Trick Room, I have to KO the Porygon 2 here. Life Orb, Moonblast, no Eviolite on Porygon, and Helping Hand. That's actually really good damage. As they go for Max Quake, okay. Onto Zacian. That's okay. I mean, my curiosity lies in the Dialga moveset here, because if you don't have Trick Room, we might actually be okay in this game. The big question is whether or not you have Trick Room. But I can at least bring out Thundurus now, right? I'm pretty happy, though. Zacian has honestly done so much more than I've expected it to, but Trick Room is inherently one of the tougher matchups for this team, so I gotta be a little bit careful about how I play around it. And my fear here is if they have Trick Room on Dialga, they can just go for it, but I don't know. Would you really have it? Especially with Flare and Quake. Like, I would expect Steel Spike and just Wormwind here. So the play I want to make is to just, like, Helping Hand, Dynamax, and then Darkness. The reason for Darknessing here is to start lowering Dialga's special defense, and once we KO Porygon, Calyrex can Astral Barrage everything. I'm not even sure I need a Helping Hand. I probably don't, right? Okay, I think it's fine to just Moonblast Dialga then. Dynamax, Darkness. Like, Porygon's bulky, but I mean, it's... Okay, I don't think they needed a forfeit there, but maybe they were just so tilted around playing around the Zacian. Well, that's what this Pokemon can do, right? Your opponents are going to just be super, super confused. I've got the element of surprise here, right? Whimsicott's got the switcheroo. It's got the eject button. So, we got maximum value out of Special Zacian in that game. So, I am happy enough. Okay, for this one, we've got Kyogre, Solgaleo, Entei, Rillaboom, Indeedee, and Amoonguss. Assault Vest, Solgaleo, definitely a possibility here. Indeedee makes it harder to get eject button shenanigans off here, but would they lead Indeedee is the question. Specs Calyrex is really good, especially if we eliminate the Indeedee. What about Special Zacian here? What does it accomplish for us? I could drop it here, truthfully. Like, it can Snarl. I mean, I just can't do anything into Solgaleo with this. Snarl is somewhat valuable into Kyogre, at least. So I'm kind of down for a Weavile Thundurus lead in this one, with Zacian and Calyrex in the back. I think the upside for us in this matchup is that I naturally have pretty good speed, so I can outpace them without the support of Tailwind. I mean, we're using some of the fastest Pokemon in the format, right? But they don't have, like, super good speed control, so I can expect to go first even without Tailwind. Without Indeedee, I would definitely try to just force some shenanigans with Whimsicott here, but they have Indeedee, which makes me feel less confident in it. It's going to be Entei and Soul, okay. This could be Choice Scarf Bulldoze into Weakness Policy, obviously. Okay, I'm actually going to just go for Triple Axle and Foul Play here, expecting the Bulldoze combo. Interesting. Okay, they don't Dynamax, they don't Bulldoze, and they're not Scarf on Entei. Well, not seeing Scarf is good, because even though I might lose a lot here on turn 1... Interesting. It's probably Bulldoze into Rock Slide then? But if Thundurus survives, they're actually in really bad shape in my opinion. The Self-Ice Shard into Max Darkness play would have worked out really well there. And they actually Sunsteel Strike. Okay. That is super ideal for me in my opinion. We got out of that a lot better than I would have expected, especially given the lack of Rock Slide there. The lack of Dynamax was also pretty interesting to see, but the thing is now that I know you're not Choice Scarfed, I can just bring out Calyrex. Special Zacian's funny here, but I don't think it's the call. Choice Specs is looking very powerful right now. Like, this combination should be able to overwhelm my opponent pretty quickly now. So I was thinking about Self-Ice Shard, Dynamax, Max Darkness, and a Solgaleo, but if Solgaleo Dynamaxes there and then just Rock Falls Thundurus, I felt like that's a really bad trade, personally. And they bring out Kyogre. I mean, if they don't have Indeedee here, like, Calyrex and Thundurus will just be super oppressive and be able to, like, sweep at this point in the game, I think. Okay, no Dynamax from Entei either. Should just be a lot of damage onto Bolt. Almost one-shots Entei there. That looks like Assault Vest Kyogre to me, given that it took that with over 50%. It is a shame we, like, came so close to knocking out Entei there, because we get the knockout there, we should just win. Because then I would get a special attack boost, and the Max Airstream would get redirected into Kyogre. So that little bit of damage could have made all the difference. I think, thinking about this team now, maybe it would have been a little bit stronger to run Modest rather than Timid, because I fallen short just by a little bit on some pretty relevant damage calcs. They should go for Follow Me here, so I want to Max Darkness into the Indeedee slot. Then with Zacian out, I can go for Moonblast or Snarl. And basically what I'm trying to set myself up for in this endgame is Expanding Force Calyrex to try to pick up knockouts. But I wish I could see my opponent's reaction when they see the special Zacian come out. Perfect, there's Follow Me. I just want Zacian to get an attack off in this game. That's more than enough for me. Max Darkness. Okay, we don't KO, but that's honestly fine because I can just Snarl Max Lightning this next turn, right? Zacian's faster than the Thundurus here, which is really critical. And I have a special defense drop, so Snarl should actually KO. And a Hailstorm, which will activate my weakness policy. Yes, very nice. Okay, Special Zacian is out on the field. It is ready to put in some work. The Zacian should definitely be faster than Thundurus, but I should have paid attention to the speeds there. It's fine, though. We'll win the game with Calyrex anyway. That was a slight blunder on my end. Okay, how much... I gotta double check the EV spreads here, because I thought I had intended for Zacian to be faster. Yeah, I had, like, designed this team a few days ago, and then finally gotten it together in-game. So, I didn't get too many... super good practice games in with it either, just because, you know, it feels like kind of like a troll team. But honestly, we're in pretty good shape now. I mean, you have a special defense drop. I'm down to just go for Moonblast here onto Kyogre and an Astral Barrage. You know what I actually did lose to in this position? It was Wide Guard on Calyrex, on Solgaleo. So I could have considered Leaf Storming there instead, but I was like, are you really going to have Wide Guard when your weakness policy set with Entei? Probably not, right? So, Moonblast. And Special Zacian gets the KO. That was all planned. It was all planned for content there. Excellent, excellent. I think part of it is also playing with Zacian and Thundurus. Like, I'm always just used to seeing Thundurus move after Zacian, but this is obviously not to regular Zacian, so yeah. Okay, two things. First of all, this is actually the team that I got top 8 at Salt Lake City Regionals with, so it's really exciting to go up against, and I love to see someone still using it because I built this team back in March. But second of all, I had the max airstream boost on Thundurus, which I'd totally forgotten about because I did double check Zacian's speed stat. And indeed, it is, you know, exactly 1 point faster than Thundurus, so I wasn't crazy there. But you know, when I went for max airstream there, the idea wasn't even to get the speed boost, it was just to get damage off, right? And so, just forgotten about the boost there. But okay, my Groudon, Solgaleo, friends, hello. Just Choice Scarf Groudon, Weakness Policy Solgaleo, Trick Room, Mimikyu. Okay, if I go with Calyrex Zacian and they just go with Groudon Solgaleo, I'm in trouble, but would they really go with that? I'm not sure. They really should bring their NDD. This is essentially a matchup where we should lose if they execute it properly, because if Trick Room goes up, I'm just doomed, right? So, NDD plus Mimikyu lead guarantees you Trick Room, because I can't break the disguise and then one-shot the Mimikyu. And I guess the only awkward thing is then you'd maybe have Solgaleo plus Groudon in the back, and it's like, how do you get Solgaleo in safely? But they go Groudon and Charizard, which I guess I'll take here. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Astral Barrage here and Snarl. Smart. I like their decision to not Dynamax Charizard there so that you can Heat Wave instead of just, it's a little bit risky because now you can miss Heat Wave, but yeah, I think that's a very good play. And it does double hit. I just lose both Pokemon here. Yep. So I can bring in Whimsicott Thundurus, but at what cost, right? I guess the good thing is they won't have speed control onto Thundurus, so Max Lightning onto Charizard super free. Yeah, this is still definitely doable, especially with the eject button as well. We ran into the worst lead here. I was trying to put in some work against NDD plus Mimikyu and like find a way around it, but they just went with Groudon Charizard, so well done. Yeah, Tailwind Max Lightning into Charizard I think is okay. They switch, it's fine. Yep, into NDD. Maybe it was worth reading into the switch there, Max Darkness instead, but at this point they can actually get away with Dynamax and Groudon and just Rock Falling Thundurus. Yeah, they are gonna max. Well done. Losing to my own team, but I'm glad to see my opponent use it so well here. Yeah, because like against Groudon Charizard, I think Weavile Thundurus is compelling because we have the policy on the Thundurus as well. So like if you max Groudon turn 1, that's fine. I could just fake out Groudon. Well, I was talking about max Airstream, but then maybe yeah, if I max Airstream, then turn 2, I can like. You have activated my weakness policy. I can triple axle max airstream your Groudon. And then we can use Calyrex in the late game. Do you activate my weakness? Okay, I mean, there's a chance, I guess, if they don't go for Follow Me next turn, or I could Max Guard into Moonblast, then Switcheroo. But I don't have enough offense at this point in the game is the problem. I just really don't think we have enough offense in this endgame since Thundurus already took so much damage. Yeah, it's not enough. Yep. The best bet here is to just go for the double Max Guard. Like, we fell into a huge hole after just losing both of my Pokemon on turn 1, obviously. And they were really smart to not Max Charizard there either. So, if we get it, things become interesting because the Groudon slot essentially doesn't do anything for my opponent, but we don't get it here. I think the problem with how I approached this was I was like, okay, I just lose anyway if they lead NDD Mimikyu, and I don't even think Calyrex Zacian solves that problem. So I might as well just lead something else, hoping my opponent doesn't lead NDD Mimikyu, right? Because I saw, like, what I would do in my opponent's position, but their lead was incredibly effective against what I led specifically, so they did well. But I'm always happy to see people execute teams that I have used and, you know, piloted and built before, so I have no shame in losing that one. And Special Zacian, not exactly the best Pokemon to bring into this matchup as well, but we actually had a really clear answer with Weavile Thundurus lead and late game Calyrex in the back here, so... that, you know, totally would have worked. So, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Okay, this one is Zekrom, Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Indeedee, Milotic, Obstagoon, and Incineroar. Okay, I'm down for a Whimsicott Thundurus lead. Zacian, Calyrex in the back. If they don't lead Indeedee, though, like, we could look towards going for, like, a switch or reject button onto whatever we think is going to Dynamax. Like, I could see them leading Zekrom, plus, I don't know. Actually, what would they lead, right? Like, Indeedee is such a strong option for them here. Yeah, it's Zekrom Indeedee. If we KO the Indeedee, it's a little bit easier for me to use Astral Barrage with the Calyrex Shadow Rider in the back. And then every special defense drop is really valuable on this team, because I'm using both Calyrex and regular special Zacian, right, in the end game. Zekrom does not max, okay. Indeedee also does not follow me, but that makes sense. You're probably not worried about too much offense here, although like a Moonblast plus a max Darkness there onto Zekrom would have been sweet. The cool thing here is I don't really need speed control from Tailwind, so if they target Whimsicott and eject it out, free switch in for me. Oh, Dragon Dance, okay. Well, now I might want to get speed control up. I'm really curious how fast Zekrom is here. Like, do you even outpace me even at +1? You would think so. Otherwise, what a benchmark are you even trying to hit? I think Darkness into Calyrex is okay. They're probably Focus Sash, but that's also okay for me because then I have speed control. Maybe Milotic coming in here, but that doesn't really help that much. It's actually Incineroar. Okay, so they're going to activate Defiant for me here. This is huge, right? Because we're in this endgame now where I have good speed control from Whimsicott. I'm getting multiple special defense drops here. You would think Zekrom has to target Thundurus here, right? But basically what we're trying to position ourselves for in this endgame is like, I've got the speed going for me. I have Helping Hand support from Whimsicott. I've got special defense drops on your end. Honestly, with this special defense drop, I'm curious of like how much Helping Hand specs Astral Barrage does next turn. And the idea is to just soften everything up for the Zacian and the Calyrex to come out. It's really not that good damage, honestly. Zacian Play Rough will not Play Rough. Focus Blast will finish that off, though. But it's like, do I really want to rely on Focus Blast? Questionable. Oh, that one-shots? Oh, wow. Okay, I honestly didn't expect that to one-shot. Maybe it's Life Orb to it, then? Let's see. This next turn is interesting, because I do have Switcheroo, but they're probably just going to click Fake Out onto this slot, right? Okay. Goodbye, Whimsicott. Thank you for everything you've done. Now we get the free switch into our special Zacian. Specs Astral Barrage, Helping Hand. Beautiful. And now we've got in our Snarl Zacian out into my opponent's Calyrex. And I get a special attack boost. Beautiful. I wasn't sure if that would KO Zekrom, but, you know, even if they manage to get an attack off there, Whimsicott Moonblast is really good into both of my opponent's Pokemon, and then I can just Moonblast into Incineroar with the Zacian as well. So I'm down to just Moonblast the Incineroar here and Astral Barrage. If Astral doesn't finish it off, Moonblast will. They actually end up forfeiting, so we don't get to use Special Zacian there, but I will take it. We brought Special Zacian to every match that I played here, and it honestly was not completely useless. That's all I was looking for here. The run with the team here was honestly a lot better than I expected, and the 1L we took was to the team that I brought to Salt Lake City Regionals, and I always, you know, really, it makes me happy to see other people use teams that I've built and put together, so I have no shame in losing there. But yeah, that is going to be it for this first low-tier challenge. We used Life Orb Special Zacian, and we made it work. Took a lot of help from its teammates, obviously, but hey, we were able to bring out Zacian. I didn't get to use the round strategy very much today, unfortunately. That's the one downside, but I had so much fun. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of you who made suggestions, and of course, we'll be doing this more frequently. It is going to be, you know, slightly interesting because we're going to be switching to Series 13, and so we'll be doing some of these challenges in Series 13, of course, before Scarlet and Violet drop. But had a lot of fun here on the Beastcoast channel, so thank you so much. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give us any feedback here, and we'll see you next time. All right, peace.